9 weirdest Barca signings of all time, from Kevin-Prince Boateng to Luuk de Jong. Barcelona have been transfer market behemoths for decades, but it's fair to say they don't always get it right. The Catalan giants' desperate financial state, which was, in part, caused by some peculiar pieces of business, has led to even more peculiar pieces of business in recent seasons. But this is nothing new. No club has a perfect record, of course, but barely a season goes by without a truly puzzling arrival being unveiled at the new camp. Their propensity to overspend is well documented, with Antoine Griezmann, Ousmane Dembele and Felipe Coutinho alone costing the club a colossal £355 million, but Barca fans have been left similarly aghast by some of the club's more forgettable transfers. With that in mind, here are 9 truly weird signings Barcelona have made in recent years. Kevin-Prince Boateng's arrival at Barcelona in January 2019 was as baffling as they come. The German-born former Ghana international had been nomadically bouncing around Europe for a decade and was brought in on loan as a kind of emergency quasi-striker, serving as backup to Luis Suarez. He made just 5 appearances for the Spanish giants before summarily being sent back to Sassuolo in the Serie A, having made next to no impression. What's the weirdest piece of business your club has done? Tell us in the comments section. More than a few eyebrows were raised when Dani Alves announced he was returning to Barcelona in November. Since leaving the club 6 years ago, the 38-year-old has had stints with Juventus and Paris Saint-Germain. He looked set to retire when his contract with Sao Paulo was terminated a few months ago. But in spite of his age and waning powers, the Brazilian agreed to help his former club out and is now rolling back the years on a modest £5,000 a week contract. Martin Braithwaite struggled in the championship during a 2-year spell with Middlesbrough, which is why the jaws of every English football fan hit the floor when they heard Barcelona were taking a punt on him. Despite a poor goal return in his first season, which surprised precisely no one, the Danish forward was handed the club's famous number 9 shirt following Luis Suarez's sudden departure. The 30-year-old has struggled for minutes this season, and after scoring just 5 league goals in 2.5 years at the new camp, it's safe to presume his bizarre spell there can't have long left to run. There's nothing particularly weird about Barcelona signing Ibrahimovic, it's just the astronomical transfer fee that, in hindsight, is a total head-scratcher. Pep Guardiola sanctioned a £60 million move for the giant suite in the summer of 2010, but not only that, he threw in Samuel Eto'o, one of Europe's most prolific goalscorers, for free. Effectively, Barcelona had exchanged 2 strikers whose records were not miles apart and handed Inter Milan a boost to their kitty. To make matters worse, Ibrahimovic fell out with Guardiola almost immediately and left for AC Milan the following summer, while Eto'o went on to guide Inter to a famous treble. Barcelona's dire financial state forced them to sell Emerson Royal to Tottenham Hotspur last summer, which made their decision to buy him from Real Betis just a few months earlier truly bizarre. They first signed the Brazilian defender in 2019, but sold him to Betis, albeit with a buyback clause, shortly after. In June, they exercised the clause, promising Royal a place in their first team. But 3 months later he was gone. Arsenal fans have fairly fond memories of Alexander Leb, but the Belarusian midfielder didn't exactly set the world alight during his 3-year stint in the Premier League. Barcelona, who had just replaced Frank Rijkaard with Pep Guardiola, were looking to kickstart the tiki-taka revolution, which made it all the more surprising when the first man through the door was Leb. He started just 5 league matches all season and was immediately shipped out on loan the following summer. Barcelona's spending spree in the 2017-18 season rather encapsulates their financial mismanagement over the last few years. Not only did they splurge over £250 million on flops Coutinho and Dembele, but they spent a further £100 million on players who failed to make an impact, with Paulinho being the best example. The former Tottenham midfielder fled to China following an underwhelming 18-month stint in England, but was tempted back to Europe 3 years later by Barcelona, who were still trying to find a permanent replacement for Xavi. The move, as you might have predicted, didn't work and Paulinho was shipped back to the Far East 12 months later, tail very much between his legs. Premier League fans may remember Luuk de Jong from his agonizingly underwhelming 6-month loan spell at Newcastle United in 2014, but these days he's leading the line for Barcelona, would you believe? The Spanish giants haven't had the best of luck with signing forwards in recent years, but when they're bringing in players off the back of 4 goals in 34 games for Sevilla, they only have themselves to blame. De Jong, who joined Barcelona on loan in August, has looked totally out of place all season, netting just 3 times in 12 league matches so far. After spending a ludicrous amount of money on Abramovich a few weeks earlier, Guardiola paid £25 million on little-known Ukrainian centre-back Dmytro Cherinsky. Cherinsky was bought for his technical ability, but like Abramovich he quickly fell foul of Guardiola's wrath. As the story goes, the current Manchester City boss lost all faith in Cherinsky due to the defender's inability to follow his philosophical guidelines during matches. After one clearance too many, Cherinsky lost his place in the side, and with it his confidence, and he rejoined Shakhtar a year later. What a wasteful summer that was, eh?